Welcome to another video. On today's video we're getting the V35 Skyline ready to take down to Tail and Bed Skid Pan Day. Alright, so we've got a few jobs to do. First one is going to be change the oil and filter. Haven't done it for probably nearly a year now, so probably a good idea to do that. Second job we're going to do is try and get rid of some of this camber here. So I bought some GK Tech camber arms for the 350, but I'm going to put them in this and see if we can get rid of some of that. The only issue is this uses a spring and shock separate combo, which you probably can't see, but we have to retain the spring bucket here, so you got minimal toe adjustment, so we're going to have to chuck it in, have a bit of a play around that. We'll have to run a fair bit of toe in if we're getting rid of the camber. Third job, which is already done, is finally put some seats in this bad boy, some fake brides with some dodgy rails. I had these sitting around in another car and I've had them for bloody ages now, but been way too lazy to put them in, and I thought I should probably put them in rather than drifting around on leather seats. And got some tyres over here to fit up, which we fitted up, some scrappies, so they're all ready to go. But it's bloody hot, so I'm going to get into it and get it done. She's super black, so good idea. Kane made me change it because I didn't want to change it. Filter, look, 29th of the 7th, that's not that long ago. Still within, no, it's not within 6 months.
That's very much not. You have no way out of this.
I'm doing it now, it's got nothing in it. Oil drained and new filter on. Always try and write the date of when I put the filter on, and by always I mean that was the second time I've done it, just so I can remember last time I serviced it, because I've got that many shit boxes and I forget when I service them all. But what a tiny little filter for a big bloody motor. Super weird, but yeah, that's what's meant to be on there. Has this blinger little funnel thing that the Penrite oil comes with. I like Penrite, haven't had an issue with it, and I believe it is Australian made, so we get it pretty well because that's the closest part shop to us and that's all they sell, but it's good too. So let's see if this blinger works. I don't know how this is going to work actually. Oh, that worked really well. That's sick. I don't know how this breather thing works, it's not working. Oh, it's sucked in, maybe you meant to take it out. I don't know, it's working. Got the standard camber arms out, had to drop the sway bar down to be able to get the eccentric bolt out. So this is the standard one versus the aftermarket one. And what you want to do is obviously kind of line it up basically where those holes meet up there and try and adjust it out so it's somewhat close to this one. I know I've got to go shorter because I had about 4 degrees of camber with this one with the eccentric bolt maxed out, so this is going to end up going shorter anyway. But what you do is basically wind it so the arm is as short as possible, and then you've got matching, then you wind it out from the actual adjustment, so you've got the matching amount of thread on this side and this side. Please do this when you install your arms, because the amount of people that come in and they'll have this much thread hanging out here and nothing there, and then we can't adjust it, we've got to take it off and basically reinstall it, which is super annoying. So yeah, please install your arms like this. Once this one's installed, it can go the furthest amount outwards and the furthest amount inwards because the thread is even on both sides. So I'm going to get these chucked in and then see how we go. How's this for quality? Get this bad boy straight out of the bag. Comes pre-rusted. It'll do the job. She'll be alright. Mind the million zip ties I've still got. I need to cut off in here, but got the camber arms installed now. Basically, the only downside to the setup in V35s and 350s, or basically all Z chassis, is the toe adjustment has the spring bucket in it, and it's very limited in adjustment. It's only got the standard eccentric bolt. So basically that one you can turn the bolt either side and that'll move this actual arm in and out. So this is adjusted all the way in as far as we can. So that's our limiting factor, and we can adjust the camber as much as we want. But basically what happens is, at the moment, with the toe as far adjusted in as we can, we've got nearly 3 mil of toe in, and we've got 2 degrees of camber. So the only adjustment we've got left is the camber. If I bring the camber in anymore, probably easier to show you back here. If I bring that camber in anymore, it's essentially going to obviously bring the camber in, but it's also going to make it toe in even further. So I could get that to 0 camber, but then we'll probably end up with something stupid like 15 mil aside toe in. So 2 degrees camber and nearly 3 mil toe in is about the limit I'm going to set it, because I do drive this thing every day. If it was just a track car, then you could probably go a bit more, but probably don't want to go too much more toe in on the rear with something that doesn't have a super amount of power. It's going to start getting super grippy. But I am thinking about possibly, this is probably an idea more for the 350 rather than this car, but you could possibly get more adjustment out of this by modifying the actual subframe. So if you notch this out a little bit, from enough room for this to move in and out a bit more, you could essentially grind this tab down, so maybe back here somewhere, grind that down, and then weld a little tab in to about here, over here, to essentially move this eccentric bolt over a little bit. The only downside with that is it's going to move the bucket where the spring sits in, but all the aftermarket ones have the adjustment here anyway, so that would do the same thing. But the only aftermarket one spring bucket that I've seen is about $1,000 US, so by the time you get it here it's going to be well over $1,500, which is pretty expensive. The only other option for these cars is to ditch the spring bucket, go a adjustable toe arm, and then get a true coilover setup so the spring is on the shock, which is mounted up there. But it's not the ideal situation, because these cars are obviously designed like this for a reason. Nissan spent millions of dollars developing these cars like that, and the actual shock tower is not designed to have a spring on it, because the spring is what takes most of the load. So once you put the shock and spring on that same tower, it's basically not designed to take that amount of force. So, but yeah, pretty well got that dialed in. It had about 4 degrees of camber before, and what it was doing is, here's the tyres that were off it. These were the tyres I was using on the street, and this side is like nothing left in it, and this side is almost brand new still. So I was getting annoyed of only using that much, and you're losing out on grip as well, because you're only really using this part of the tyre here, and this tyre is only just touching the ground, and this one's taking all the weight here and getting a lot of heat into it, so that's why that wears out that bad. So hopefully we get a bit more tyre life at this skid day, and I don't go through a million tyres again, because it doesn't have super amounts of power, so it shouldn't be using tyres. Anyway, we're going to finish off this alignment and do everything up in the rear, move on to the front. Just getting the front dialed in as well now. This has just got the original GK Tech bolt-on kit, which one day I might look at modifying a bit. It's not a super crazy amount of lock, and it's a weird sort of feeling, so I'd like to play around with that a little bit. But yeah, got that dialed in. caster and camber, I can't change anything. There's nothing adjustable on this. All it is toe, so we're running about 5mm side out. Normally I'd run a bit more than that, but this is the daily, so don't want to eat away the front tyres. Even this one here is already starting to wear on the inside, so see how we go at this event, but might need to look at flipping those at some stage. But that's yeah, front and rear done, so we'll drop it down and see how it goes. Take it for a test drive down my mate's private road. Well, actually, doesn't need to be my mate's private road, it's street registered, so just gonna take it for a drive on the street, I guess. Just took it for a test drive and all sweet, feels heaps better. Those seats are heaps better. So before you just have the standard leather seats and you're sort of flying from side to side, trying to sort of hold yourself in there and you're not really concentrating on driving the car. So these ones are holding in nice and tight, actually a good fit. And alignment wise, it's got a lot more rear end grip in a straight line. We'll see when we take it to the track how it goes drifting, but it feels heaps more sort of planted, not running 4 degrees of camber. So this is what we ended up with. The rear, we got the camber down to just over 2 a side and 3mm toe in a side, and then front I just gave it 5mm a side toe out, and yeah, 1.5 to 2 degrees of camber and 9 degrees of caster, which is not adjustable, so gotta live with that unless we get some adjustable upper arms. But yeah, that'll do us for getting ready. We just gotta pack up a few things and then get ready to go, so we'll see you down at the track.